Hello, here we are again with Sarah Petrahita, if I said it right today.
Close enough.
Hold on. Okay,
Yes.
we are here
So,
to record our next conversation. Yes, I am Jen Carpenter. Um, we have a topic today to discuss women and entrepreneurship and parenting. We were just both chatting a little about real life as it is. So we talk about the ugly truth and we want to awaken, empower leaders and help people get aligned and live fulfilled in their life and business. We're going to share stories and insights once a month together to support and inspire other women and mothers in entrepreneurship to take action and take control of their life. I will be sharing this video on my YouTube channel, on social media, I believe, if Sarah would like to, on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Instagram as well. So we are just here to support business owners, entrepreneurs, and want to add value and talk about real life topics. Um, First of all, Sarah, do you want to make a brief introduction again? I know they met you last time, but we can do a brief intro if you'd like. Just having some trouble with
sure.
it.
No worries. So while you got the screen stuff, working on the figuring out, I am Sarah Piedrahita, and I am the reinvention strategist, where we reinvent the way we communicate, the way we relate, and how we do sales and business. And, when it comes to entrepreneurship, it can be quite a challenge, especially if you've come from say you always worked for somebody, or maybe you had a family that, yeah, they were entrepreneurs and you got to see firsthand what is that like. It's like unofficial training, free life college as you were growing up. I'm happy for you. That's great. But for those of us that were not growing up with those tools and that experience
Yes.
and to see firsthand what it's like, you know, a lot of us have turned to books, maybe coaches, programs, all kind of other entrepreneurs to see, okay, how do you do this, right? And a number of us have shifted from the employee set into the entrepreneurship role. And one of the things that I haven't really heard much talk about is where there's this actual a gap where when you were an employee, you had all the resources on hand, you had everything that you needed, and even I found myself in this journey realizing that I was ignorant in a number of areas. It's a lot harder than it looks to put together a company, hire employees, get all the, I's dotted, the T's crossed, all the things put together. And now in an entrepreneurship role, man, it's all you. There's nobody else to save you. It's you have to figure things out. And thankfully, we have the power of the 21st century technology that we can connect no matter where we are. But at the same time, we're left with some of the same challenges that never change from human nature. And today we're going to dive into the topic of, the whole thing of being mom and entrepreneur. How do you do it all? How do you figure out where, if you do the one, does the other one suffer? Does it have to be like that? Like, how is it that I have this dream that maybe I went into the entrepreneurship world because I wanted to be more available for my family? Yet the reality is, man, to get this business off the ground, it's not so simple.
Yes, getting moms out of the 9 to 5. We're going to give some tips on these topics here that, I haven't made as much of the shift into full entrepreneurship as Sarah has more recently, but we both come from the world of the American dream. Now, I didn't have a ton of debt in college. I actually started working when I was 21 and had no debt from college. I bought my own house when I was 23. So like came from a different mindset of that, but learning about entrepreneurship 3 years ago, um, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. It said internet was unstable. Learning about getting into entrepreneurship 3 years ago, even then made the decision to do that. Still didn't really know what all of this entails until more recently when you get really serious about running and growing your business, let alone balancing that with being a parent. So I think the biggest thing I would say has to do with mindset and knowledge. You don't know what you don't know, but learning all of the things to balance everything. Behind all of it is mindset shifts. Obviously, everybody talks about that, and I could go on and on about mindset and routines and all of that. But really just stepping into, being 100% accountable for yourself, learning that you're the one who is in control of your life. And then also there's things that you can't control. That's a big balance of mine, whether that be, personally or professionally. I've been told I like to be in control of things, but then there's other things that I can't be in control of. So just awareness of, whatever action you take, holding yourself 100% accountable. Where could I have done better? Where did I go wrong? Whether that's a specific action with how I organize my day, with my business, or with my family, moment to moment situations. It takes a moment of taking a moment to stop, think about where you're at, what you're thinking, what you're feeling, and what you want the outcome to be, of that situation. So whether it's a challenge in the business or a challenge in the home, figuring out, what you have control of and what you can, um, change or delegate or whatever it may be, but just being present in that situation. And the mindset is probably the biggest topic I'd say behind this. Tons of other things I could go on and on about this part of it, but accountability would be one of the biggest things. Anything else to add to that with any other suggestions, or we're talking about, employee to entrepreneur mentality, or any other times there was a light bulb for you with that?
Yeah, something I didn't realize is it's time to be kind to myself. And, for those of you watching, be kind to yourself. If you walked into entrepreneurship believing that, okay, I've got the, the dream, the vision, I've come up with the plan, I have, started to do everything that my coach or whoever I lean on for leading me in this area, that's new territory for me, taking the habits of the employee setup framework and putting it in the entrepreneurship, it's like wearing the wrong size of shoes. It doesn't fit. And what I realized through my own journey is how much ingrained in me was the employee mindset of, always having to report to somebody, even, some of the coaches. I work with some incredible coaches, and I found myself explaining a lot and feeling this like I have to, tell them everything I'm going to do, or if I can't make it to this thing over here, here's why, and a whole dissertation, almost like, working when you would work and try to take a sick day, it's like, depending on what kind of boss you had, you might have to come up with a whole dissertation and then feeling guilty about taking the sick day and using the sick time. It's really something. Giving yourself the space and the kindness to realize that, you know what, I don't have it all figured out and I won't. And
Yeah.
begin to fall in love with that the how will work itself out as you go through
Yes.
this journey. Because here's the deal. This journey is custom fit to you. Just because one person over here says this is the best method to do this and you should do this in your business because it worked for me, is the undertone, right? Because it worked for them, it should work for you. Go right back to that pair of shoes. Hold up. So you're saying this method works for you. They, if we could use the analogy of shoes, they wear a size 9, but I wear a size 7.5. And then when their size 9 doesn't fit my size 7.5, then start to blame myself that, what am I doing that's not working? No, don't beat yourself up. You're in a completely different stage, and each person's life is individual and it works differently for each of us.
I think that kind of leads me to the concept too of boundaries and expectations, for yourself and your business. Taking the time, for me, I want to give myself space, but I also still make sure I'm productive. So I still will make sure I do the 3 or 4 important things of that day, but give myself a couple extra hours if I had to, and deal with a situation, or if I'm not all there, and give my space for that. I've had to do that, but I also have had to show up no matter what too. This actually brings me to a quote I was going to bring up, from my coaching program this past fall. You've got to want it as bad as you want to breathe. And there's some days that I'm not putting in every ounce of what I need to put in to get where I want to go. Even though I know, so I do give myself grace to be able to do that. But I'm also aware of it and need to know, okay, hey, I didn't do well in this area today. I need to improve upon this area tomorrow. And, I'm doing everything I can every day to get better and better, no matter what it is. We're not going to be perfect in any area. But having clear boundaries and expectations with yourself and your family to know, putting it out there, what you're doing, what you want to do, how all of this works, so everybody's on the same page to support you. And also just having super clear boundaries with business meetings, relationships, your family. Family time is family time. Setting those super clear, scheduling, time blocking, all that goes into it. But there are days that I can't do 100%, but I just go out there and give it as much as I can in a day, despite what I'm dealing with. So just always focusing on, 3 or 4 income producing activities that you could really be doing to move the needle that day, even if you're not, 100% otherwise, and just showing up, as best as you can with what you're dealing with. I think this kind of ties into then just as a whole, we talk a lot about women in entrepreneurship and business, working moms, maybe this applies to dads too, but whoever wants to see, take value from it. But teaching your children a healthy lifestyle and mindset, work habits, all of that, same kind of thing, but making sure everybody's on the same page and also that everyone really understands you're doing what you got to do for yourself and what's best for you. It goes back to the pain, passion, purpose from our last episode. Finding your true being and really making sure your family is aligned with that as well and understand the real purpose behind what you're doing. Not just to be with your family, but the purpose you serve in your business and how you're serving other people. Giving, networking and business is all about giving and supporting each other. So just really making sure you're all on the same page with what it takes to do this and be in entrepreneurship and knowing your vision of where you want to go and have your family be aware of takes sacrifice, this takes time, knowing that they're on the same page with this is a process and this is where I'm going with this. And we all have an end game and a vision in mind behind it.
Yeah.
Any other takes on that? However you want to go with that.
Yeah, you touched on a really bright point, which is this, earlier you said about mindset and expectations. And how is it that we can have expectations for a season that we may have never been in? And how is it that we're willing to trust the expectations of other people more than ourselves? So what I mean by that is, some for those of us that maybe we have a really close relationship with being in control, or we want things to work out a certain way, we want the outcome to be a certain way. Maybe unpredictability freaks us out. And so we set these budgets, schedules, and outline meticulously everything that could possibly happen. But what happens is it sets an individual up to be so boxed in that, wait a minute, wasn't the whole point of entrepreneurship to have my time on my terms? Wasn't the point of entrepreneurship to go into the unknown, to find out more of who I am and really do what I was created to do and be in alignment with who I am and no longer cramming myself into someone else's idea and building their dream? So what would it do for you if you loosened up just a little bit and create, yes, have your framework, have your schedule, your budget, but realize that life is very flexible and it challenges our inflexibility, and give yourself the grace in the room that goes, you know what, maybe I had planned on my schedule to do XYZ, but my kid just threw up twice during the night. I got 2 hours of sleep. Like, meet with who? And you could meet and you can continue to do those things. But here's the deal. If you're depleting yourself in the name of, I got to be, perfect. I got to have this done. I have that done, because if I don't, then I'm going to fail and it's not perfect. And you know what? It's going to be imperfect. There is imperfection that exists in business, but those who are resilient and learn to go with the flow of life are the ones that we see that establish themselves. And it took them time. Overnight success is such a term that's quite a setup.
I agree, very much so. Um, with being just passionate about this balance that we're talking about with, personal and business dynamics. Um, Really the other topic is having, a supportive spouse, like I said, that I kind of wanted to get into in parenting. You have to work as a team together to parent. You have to work as a team together to um, support each other. Maybe your husband has a corporate job like me, and I'm going into entrepreneurship. We have to figure out how to support each other without getting, like I said, too far into the whole thing. What are some of the most important things about support around us from our spouse, and the support around us with our family in entrepreneurship? I would say that, just sharing what's passionate to me is really, really important for my family to understand. This isn't just about money. This isn't just about a business. It's all about, like you said, living in our truth and taking the skills that I had to look deep down inside and look at what I was good at and look at what made me happy. All of this really comes down to that alone, being my best version of myself for my children, for my family, and for those that I serve. So I need them to all understand that and support every aspect of it to the best of our ability. So how does your daughter, your husband, support you in your journey?
Well, touching on the piece on boundaries, we've had to have some discussions of, okay, when the door is closed to my office, that does not mean burst through and now's the time to announce whatever it is that's not an emergency. That boundaries is a form of support, and your family honoring your boundaries, but also you honoring their boundaries. It's a two-way street. And here's how you can honor their boundaries. When work is done for the day, it's done. That's it.
Yes. Yes.
If your cutoff is 5 p.m., your cutoff is 5 p.m. Because what can happen is, in the entrepreneurship mind is this excitement of, man, I got all these great ideas and here's how I want to serve this person. And how can I solve this over here? Oh, and we've got this entire narrative of stuff going on in here. While the people that love us most, we're essentially limiting our present, being present with them. We're limiting that. We're cutting it off. And here's the deal. When it comes to big events in life, whether it's health related, if there's something that's happened to you or you're experiencing maybe a loss or, life changes, there's a great chance that the people who will be by your side are the ones that actually love you the most, which is your family. That, yes, we have clients and a whole bunch of people we want to serve, but it's the family that's going to be around. And here's the deal. If we're out saving the world, but we're neglecting ourselves and we're neglecting our own home, then there's a break in integrity and authenticity. And there's also a break in being, having your word match your walk. And when that happens, it will come crashing down. There's plenty of successful people that they've nailed it in business, but who they are as an individual, their character,
Yes. Yes.
it's awful. And so invest in your family and invest in, it's like the good old fashioned values, and the beliefs that really support the family, because it's a priority of who you serve on a spiritual level, and then family and you, and then you've got your business.
Yeah, when it's family time on the calendar, it's family time. I still am guilty here and there of going over time, and that I stop and say, okay, I screwed up. That took 15 minutes away from my family. Just being able to operate on, even if it's a loose schedule, but the best schedule you can, and stopping whatever that activity is. I for a period of time did use the egg timer and did the egg timer, and it ticks and it's annoying and it rings, but if that activity is not done, you stop, you add it to your list for the next day, and you move on. So I am guilty here and there of that still, that I go over. Actually, that goes into really that respecting and valuing yourself topic again, of 100% accountability and respecting yourself, with uh, valuing your time and making sure that you're not taking away from yourself and your family. That's one of the other biggest parts that really is a constant You have to go back to that in your thought process. Where did I go wrong? What could I have done better? You know, own it. And then even just when you have coaches and other partners being called out for even with from your family members, I guess, being called out for, hey, you took 15 minutes away from the family. Yeah, I should have done better at that. Just being very aware and real about those boundaries and expectations. And yeah, just all comes down to habits, healthy habits and mindset to balance all of these things together. So I hope that this has been super helpful. Again, Sarah and I really enjoy these conversations, and again, just want to add value to entrepreneurs and business owners with these topics. I hope that we've shared again several bits of knowledge and nuggets that can be useful, actionable items. Um, and so, yeah, next time we have not picked our topic, but we'll share another topic in the month of May, usually by the end of the second week of May. And we all thank you for joining us. And we did it in, I think, 15 minutes today. Anything else you want to say, Sarah? I won't cut you off this time.
No, no, that's great, man. Just, you know what? Be the best version of you that you can, and the great things will come to you. You don't have to chase them.
I agree. Yes, actually, one of my new affirmations is everything I have is already within me. So I've got five gratitude, more than that, but five gratitude and five affirmations that I'm sticking to, even though I have a list of a bunch. But those five are just been super powerful, and that is one of them. So we will leave you with that. Thank you very much for your time.